Hello friends, I am Lakshmi Kant. Hope you all are fine, my dear. Dear, this one is topic biological classification. This one chapter 2 of NCERT class 11th, my dear. Unit 1. And dear, in this chapter, this is very important chapter, my dear, on the point of view that is NEET, my dear. So what we should have to be studying this very chapter. Here, in this chapter, I'm going to tell you about the classification because the topic is here is what classification, biological classification. So here the main motive in this part to make a concept over classification, my dear, right? So now ready to start? Okay, thank you. Just before we have to start, just take out your what pen and copy. Take out first, and whatever the things that what I'm telling right now, just to first of all listen carefully. Then after you write on your copy also. Okay. So let's see. In this very chapter, what we start in this very chapter, my dear. Here we start which one thing that is biological classification. So in this very topic, what we should have to be know here first, see the term first here, classification. You know the meaning of classification, my dear. What is classification? The term is here is what classification first. Classification. Here, classification worked on the two bases. Whenever we say in a world work, how the world work on this very classification. So on the basis of world work on classification, it be classified in two way. Number one, that is scientific. Number one is what? Scientific. And second one is what? Non-scientific. See what I'm saying? I'm saying here non-scientific. Non-scientific. See, so if we have to make a concept over the classification, then first of all we should have make a clear concept over how we classify the things, how we group the organisms on the basis of their characteristics, on the basis of their identification, on the basis of their nomenclature, how. So the scientists make the classification in two way. One is the scientific way, second one is what? Non-scientific way. So here the first scientist, hope you know the name of that very scientist, that the father of biology also, as well as the father of zoology also. And the name of the scientist, you know what? Aristotle. Yes, in Hindi we say Arastu. Clear? So according to Aristotle, what I'm writing here, see, according to whom? According to Aristotle. This one is the father of biology also and the father of zoology also. Clear? Now the question, who is the father of botany? You know? Yes, correct. Theophrastus. Theophrastus is the father of botany, my dear. Right? So now see. Here I'm going to tell you about, according to Aristotle, how Aristotle classify the organisms. Correct? So here, according to Aristotle, he classify the organisms in two way. Number one, that is what? First, on the basis of morphology. On the basis of what? On the basis of what I'm saying here, morphology. See here, on the basis of morphology. So on the basis of morphology, he classify the organisms. Let's see how. Number one, that is her. What I'm saying, number one is what? Her. Second thing is that is what? Shrub. And third one is what, my dear? Tree. Clear? This one the first basis. The first basis is what? On the basis of morphology, right? So on the basis of morphology, Aristotle classified the organisms in three way. That is herbs, basically in plants, herbs, that is the soft green stems. That plant is called herbs, just like tulsi, mint, herbs. The some plants which have a stem but not so strong, but they have hard stem. That is herbs. Tree, just like mango, banyan, apple. Okay, that all very are what tree. So on the basis of morphology, see what I'm saying, on the basis of morphology, Aristotle classify the three way. Okay, now second thing is here how the Aristotle classify on the basis of RBC. What I'm writing here, on the basis of what RBC, that is red blood cells, or you say the red blood corpuscles, my dear. So on the basis of RBC, we classify on the basis of RBC. How? Let's see first with RBC. With RBC, so if anyone have RBCs, red blood cells, then he called what? Anemia. That is called what? Enema. What I'm writing here? I am writing here, dear, enema. Correct? Enema. So with RBC. And now without RBC, what I'm saying here, without RBC, the organisms which also have without RBC, then what we call anemia. What I'm saying, anemia. Correct? So in the two way, Aristotle classify the organisms, first on the basis of morphology, second on the basis of their what? RBC, by dear. Correct? Correct. So if anybody can ask you, name the scientists to first classify the organisms, then what you say? None of them. That is what Aristotle. Correct. How Aristotle classify the organisms? He classified the organisms in two way. Number one, on the basis of morphology, and second on the basis of RBC. On the basis of morphology, classify the organisms, that is three: herbs, shrubs, and tree. On the basis of RBC, they classify, that is what, with RBCs, that is anemia, without RBC, anemia. Correct? Now, then after, a scientist, the name of the scientist, I hope so you know, that is the father of taxonomy also. See what I am saying here? Taxonomy. So, what I am saying here, listen. Two kingdom classification. What I am saying? Two kingdom classification came after. The name of the two kingdom classification was given by the scientist Carolus Linnaeus. Hope so you hear the name of Carolus Linnaeus? No, that is father of taxonomy also, my dear. See, now the two kingdom classification, my dear. So this two kingdom classification was given by whom? The scientist. The name of the scientist is whom you know? Carolus Linnaeus. Which one? Carolus Linnaeus, my dear. Clear? Carolus Linnaeus is the scientist to give what? Two kingdom classification. On what basis? If anybody can ask you, on what basis Carolus Linnaeus give the two kingdom classification? On the basis of cell wall. What I'm writing here? On the basis of what? Cell wall, my dear. Correct? On the basis of cell wall. So on the basis of cell wall, Carolus Linnaeus give a two kingdom classification. That is what? Number one, that is plant kingdom. Or you say the, yes, plant kingdom, you say. Wait for a moment. When you say what? Plant kingdom. Number one, plant kingdom. And second one is what? Animal kingdom. Second one is what? Animal kingdom. Correct? Now see what I'm saying here. Here I'm saying about the classification. First, the classification worked on the basis of world work. One is the scientific way, second one is non-scientific way. So here the first scientist, the name of the scientist is Aristotle, who classify the organisms in two ways, on the basis of morphology first, and then after on the basis of RBC, that is red blood cells, or you say the erythrocytes. The other name of RBC, you know, other name of RBC is known as what? Erythrocytes. See what I'm writing? Erythrocytes. So on the basis of erythrocytes, they classify in two ways. One is what? With RBCs, the organisms which contain RBCs, that is called enema, and without RBC, known as what? Anemia. Correct? Now, after that, the scientist Carnus Linnaeus gave two kingdom classification. First, on the basically that the classification be based on the cell wall. So, what the two classification? One is plant kingdom, second one is what? Animal kingdom. Now, the question is here. Now, the question is here, dear. If I'm saying here the plante, yani kingdom plante, here I'm saying what? Plante. So how the plante will classify? This one is the thing. In plante, what are they? They are algae. Second one is what? Bryophyta. Bryophyta. Yes or no? Third one is what? Pteridophyta. Pteridophyta. Then after what? Gymnosperm. Then after what, my dear? Gymnosperm. Then after what? Angiosperm. So these all belong to where? Kingdom Plante, my dear. Right? Yes or no? In this sequence, you have to belong Kingdom Plante, algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, and angiosperm. Yes or no? And if there is not any separate classification given by the fungi, so where it kept? It kept where? In a Kingdom Plante, that is fungi, my dear. Here fungi also. Yes or no? Yes. This one is looking so amazing now. The piece is rotating over the plant. Parasitic plant? No. Okay, fungi. And if the bacteria is also not giving any places, so bacteria is also where? Bacteria is also where? In a Kingdom Plante. Yes or no? So there is not any place given of what archaebacteria. So that's what I'm saying here. Archaebacteria is also grouped where? In a Kingdom Plante. Yes or no? So these all belongs where? These all belongs where, my dear? In a Kingdom Plante. Okay. So now, if anybody can ask you about the animals in the Kingdom Animalia, which one? That is spawns, flatworms, aves, mammals, protozoa, all are grouped where? In a Kingdom Animalia. Correct? But now the question is here, this two kingdom classification correct? But here I'm not giving you justification of correct, right or wrong, but on the context of this time, we say here that this two kingdom classification was not sufficient. So that's why the three kingdom classification was given by the scientist Ernest Haeckel. Clear? So before we know that what the three kingdom classification, here we must have to be know about the drawbacks of this two kingdom classification, my dear. So that's we can realize that yes, this one is the drawback. So that's we need have to be third classification, right? So before we have to not know how this two kingdom classification is not sufficient for each and every living organisms, then how we make another classification? Is that correct or not? So before we have to be know the third kingdom of classification, so first of all here we should must have to be get a clear over the point that what the drawbacks of the two kingdom classification. Then after we have to be know that the third kingdom classification, my dear, right? So see, if I'm saying here that the two kingdom classification was not sufficient, okay, let's see what the NCERT tell you about this one thing. Okay, go through NCERT clips. Here the NCERT clips say what, my dear? See first, we all know that since I'm going through all things through line by line, what the NCERT tell here, since the dawn of civilization, here the NCERT written here, dawn the civilization, there have been many attempts to classify living organisms. So many scientists try to classify the living organisms So many attempts were uh, put it by the many scientists to be classify the organisms, but they failed to classify. It was done instinctively, not using criteria that were scientific, but born out a need to use organisms for own use, that is what, for food, shelter and clothing. So whatever the classification given, that is not classified on any some scientific criteria, but they were used to only the need of organisms for own use, for what the food, what the shelter, what the clothing. There's one thing. But the scientists say Aristotle, just try to tell about here the Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis for classification. See, I was told here in this previous slide. See, the scientist, which one? Which one the scientist here? I am telling the scientist, which one? See, in here I am going to Aristotle. See, Aristotle, I am marking here. Aristotle, I was told there, na? Yes, definitely. So Aristotle classifies scientifically on the basis of morphology and on the basis of what? RBC value. Now, see, Aristotle was the earliest attempt to more scientific basis of classification. He used morphological characters. You know what the character used by the Aristotle? Morphological character. So, morphological character to classify the plants into how many groups? Three. That is tree, shrubs, and herbs, my dear. See, this thing is written in your NCRT also. So that's why I'm telling to you all the things. Okay. He also divided animals. He also divided animals into two groups. Into two groups. Those who had red blood cells and those they did not. Clear? So this one is thing that I have shown even in previous slides. See, check here. This one is thing I was told or not. See, this one is thing I was told here. On the basis of morphology, see, on the basis of morphology first, and then after on the basis of their what, my dear, RBCs. I was told or not? See here. Yes, this one thing I'm telling. Clear? The same thing is also written in your NCRT. So here the concept is to be clear. Okay. Now, the main basic thing here to be know after this one, the scientist, the name of the scientist, you know, Carlos Linnaeus, that is the father of taxonomy also. He classify further the organisms into two way, that is what, plant kingdom and what, animal kingdom. But there's not sufficient, my dear. So there is what, drawbacks. So I'm writing here what, drawbacks of two kingdom classification. Mark a heading. What the drawbacks? What the drawbacks of what I'm writing? Two kingdom classification, my dear. See, I'm writing here what, drawbacks of two kingdom. Wait a moment. Two kingdom classification. Is there any drawbacks, sir? Yes, my dear. That is not very sufficient. Yes, what I'm saying here, that is not very sufficient to classify all the organisms there. So that's why I'm saying, see, what the drawbacks? Carlos Linnaeus failed to explain, my dear. See what I'm saying first here. Failed to not put the prokaryotic and eukaryotic in a in a sequence manner. See what I'm saying here. The prokaryotic kept with eukaryotic. So that's why he failed to keep the sequence prokaryotic. What I'm saying for a moment. Prokaryotic keep with eukaryotic. Na, this one thing I'm saying. Na, prokaryotic kept with which one? Kept with what? Eukaryotic. Eukaryotic. Correct. This one is the thing. See, and this one is the birds flying over my head. Okay. Yes, this one is the magic. So prokaryotic kept with what? Eukaryotic. Right. Now, second thing. Autotrophic and heterotrophic kept together. Autotrophic, and what I'm saying dear, see, listen, heterotrophic, what kept together? What I'm saying? kept together. See here, this one thing. Third, is there any drawbacks? Yes, my dear, that is what the photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic also kept together. See what I'm saying? Photosynthetic, photosynthetic, and what I'm saying, non-photosynthetic. What I'm saying here, non-photosynthetic, what kept together. See what I'm saying here, kept together. So photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic also kept together. Now, is any more? Yes, my dear. That's what I'm saying. Unicellular and what I'm saying, multicellular. See, unicellular and multicellular kept together, my dear. What I'm saying, kept together. So these all are the what drawbacks of two kingdom classification. See, in previous slide, what I what I tell here, my dear, in previous slide, the two kingdom classification was given by the scientist Carlos Linnaeus. Okay, correct? Yes. So on the basis of the cell wall, basically, what basis the two kingdom classification was given by the Carlos Linnaeus? The basis is there is only what the cell wall, correct? So one is what plant kingdom, second one is what animal kingdom. So all the plantae, either algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, angiosperms, as well as what fungi, because bacteria have not given a separate kingdoms. Yes or no? So this one is also put here. Archaebacteria also not give a separate kingdom, so that's why I also put here. So this one is not a correct, my dear. Okay, so there is some drawbacks here. So what the drawbacks is here, my dear? Here the 4 points I'm written here. That is what prokaryotic kept with eukaryotic. Hope so you know the meaning of prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Am I right? No, you don't know. See, if you don't know, my dear, this one is very important to know here before we have to be proceed. See, if I'm saying here that the prokaryotic, see what I'm writing here, prokaryotic. Pro means what? Prokaryotic. See, if anybody can ask you about the prokaryotic, see here, pro means what? Pro means, what the meaning of pro? Pro means what? Primitive, my dear. What I'm writing here, pro means what? Primitive. And carry on, carry on, carry on means what, my dear? Carry on means what I'm saying, nucleus. See here, so see, if I'm saying here the pro means what? Primitive, and carry on means what? Nucleus, my dear, right? Now, it means that what? The organisms which has primitive nucleus. It means that what? The organisms which has not well-defined membrane-bounded organelles, my dear. They have lack of membrane-bounded organelles. Getting my point or not? Yes, tell me you, my dear. Getting my point? So, if I'm saying that the membrane-bounded not organelles means what? All the bacteria, viruses, they have not membrane bonded organelles. Say they lack of what? Membrane bonded organelles. So where it belongs? It belongs to the prokaryotic, correct? Now, if anybody can ask you about the eukaryotic, my dear, this one is so simple. Let's see. If I'm saying about the what? Eukaryotic. So what the meaning of eukaryotic, my dear? See here. Eu means what? Eu means what first, my dear? Tell me. Eu means what? True. And again I am writing what? Carry on. So carry on here means what, my dear? Carry ons means what? Nucleus. So see here, carry on means what? Nucleus. Yani true nucleus. It means that those organisms which has membrane bounded organelles, just like we all are the multicellular organisms, which all are what? Eukaryotic. Why I'm saying eukaryotic? Because we all have what? Membrane bonded organelles such as mitochondria, nucleus, Golgi bodies, in plant cell chloroplast, that all have membrane bonded organelles there, na? So that's why I'm saying what? Eukaryotic. So this one is the basic differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic, my dear. So hope so this thing is clear. So let's see here what the drawbacks of this two kingdom classification was, which was given by the scientist Carlos Linnaeus. So here the scientists kept prokaryotic along with the eukaryotic. So this one is not correct now. So if we put that all very prokaryotic and another eukaryotic, then how we study, my dear? Because how, why we classify? We classify to study the organisms in a systematic manner, no? So if we not have to be arranged that very systematic manner first, then how we study over them? Yes or no? So we should must have to be classified there. So that's why we have to be study properly each one, every one. And you all know that that how many species right now, my dear, according to NCRT, I'm asking. According to NCRT, my dear, 1.7 to 1.8 million species. What I'm writing here? 1.7 to 1.8 million species, my dear, that only we have studied. Yes or no? Studied. Rest, rest is left. Yes, up to 8 to 10 million total species. Out of 8 to 10 million species, only we have to be study what? 1.7 to 1.8 million species only. And this one is not a list data. This is not a list data. Understand? So the scientists make more effort here to be study these all things. But how? How? The question is here how? So without we classify the organisms in a proper manner, is it possible to study that very organisms? No, because their number is so large enough. If their number is so large, that how it possible to study, my dear? So that's why I'm saying here. So here the some drawbacks is here, that is the kingdom, two kingdom classification that is given by the Carlos Linnaeus. Number one is what? Prokaryotic, kept with what, or you say the along with what? Eukaryotic, my dear. So this one is not right. Okay, this one is the first point. Now second point is here is what? Autotrophic and heterotrophic. Hope so you all familiar with the term autotrophic and heterotrophic. Dear, if I'm saying here the autotrophic, it means what? Auto means self, trophic means to synthesize. So if I'm saying here the autotrophic, it means what? The organisms which can synthesize their own food. Correct? So if the organisms synthesize their own food with the help of organic or inorganic material, just like sunlight, carbon dioxide, water and minerals, that all organisms is said to be what? Autotrophic. Basically, the green plants, you know, the autotrophs, right? Heterotrophic, we all are heterotrophs. It means what? We directly or indirectly depend on autotrophs. We cannot make their own food. So that's why I'm saying here, this autotroph and heterotroph put together. So see, if autotroph and heterotroph together put in a same kingdom, then it is easy to understand. No, my dear, this is not easy to understand. This is not easy to classify. This is not easy to be learned, that very things, right? Now third thing is that is what? Photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic, my dear, that is also kept put together. That is non-photosynthetic, you might know the no, that is mushroom, fungi, there is not any separate kingdom is be there. So here the kingdom fungi is also put in here. See, in previous slide I am written here. See, in the previous slide, here the kingdom fungi, that is fungi is here also written here. Yes or no? So what I'm saying here that if we not group the organisms in a proper sequence, then it is not easy to study that very things, my dear. Right or no? So see, hope so. Autotrophic and heterotrophic kept together, point clear. Photosynthetic, not photosynthetic kept together, also clear. Unicellular and multicellular, my dear. Here the bacteria that also not be given a proper kingdom. So that's why it grouped where in a plant. See, so this one is a challenge for all the scientists, that how we study proper manner, my dear. So here these all are the drawbacks that is given by the scientist Carlos Linnaeus. But see, but the things is here. After that, I am going to write here after the failure of the two kingdom classification. Now the three kingdom classification, my dear. See what I am writing here. I'm going to write three kingdom classification. See, I'm going to write here what? Three kingdom of classification. See, three kingdom of classification. Correct? See, in this three kingdom of classification, this one given by the scientist. You know the scientist, which one? Tell me the name, just right here. Ernest Haeckel. Which one scientist, my dear? Which one scientist? Ernest Haeckel, my dear. What I'm writing here? Ernest Haeckel. See, Ernest Haeckel, the scientist, gave what? Three kingdom classification. There in this three kingdom classification, which one added? Which one added? The two kingdom classification is be there. That is kingdom plantain, kingdom animalia there. But we add the third. Okay, we not delete that very two kingdom. Listen carefully. If I'm saying here the three kingdom classification, it means what? We delete that very two kingdom. No, we put there. We put also here. Yes or no? So what the two kingdom, what the three kingdom classification here? The plante is here. Plante, which is given by the Carlos Linnaeus. Plante is remain. Animalia also remain. That is animal. We add what? Which one we add? We add here kingdom protista, my dear. We add here which one? Protista. See what I'm saying? We add here what? We add here what? Only protista, my dear. See? So, here the plante and the animalia is remain. We add which one? Protista. So, in protista, what we here know, that is what? Bacteria. In protista, what we know here? Bacteria. What we know here? Protozoa. Protozoa. What we know here? Datums. Datums. What we know here? That is fungi. That is what? Fungi. All are protists here. According to the three kingdom classification given by the scientist whom? Ernest Haeckel, my dear. Correct? Now, then after, this one is not a sufficient, my dear. See, again, the four kingdom classification came here. What I'm saying? Again, which one kingdom classification came here? Four kingdom classification. See what I'm saying? Four kingdom classification. And this four kingdom classification is given by the scientist. You know which one? Which one is the scientist who gave the four kingdom classification? No. See, the four kingdom classification was given by the scientist Copeland. What I'm saying? Which one scientist, my dear? Copeland, the scientist who gave the four kingdom classification. See, what we add here? What we add here? We not delete all these things. Kingdom plantain, kingdom animalia, kingdom protista is here. The fourth one is what? Here, see what the remaining. Here the plante remaining. Yes. Second one is what? Animalia remaining. Yes. Protista remaining. Yes. Definitely. So which one we add here? Yes, Maria. This was the question. Which we add here? Here we add which one? Monera. Here we add what? Kingdom Monera. The sole organisms here is what? Bacteria, my dear. Here we add what? Here we add what? Monera. Clear? Clear? So kingdom protista is here. Kingdom protozoa is here. Datum is here. Clear? But what we add here? What? Monera. So in Monera, what we study? The sole organisms. That is what? Bacteria. That is what? Bacteria. And further, my dear, this bacteria classified into two. One is what? Archaebacteria and eubacteria. One is what? One is what? Archaebacteria and what? Eubacteria. And you know, this one classification, six classification. Archaebacteria, and second one is what? Eubacteria, I am saying. What I am saying? Eubacteria. Correct? Listen carefully. Firstly, the two kingdom classification. Yes, my dear. What I'm saying? The two kingdom classification was given by the scientist. Which one? Yes, here the written name. The name the scientist used. Which one? Carlos Linnaeus. See, check here. I'm written here. No? Carlos Linnaeus, my dear. On what basis? On the basis of cell wall. That is what? Plant kingdom. And second one is what? Animal kingdom. Correct? And this one is based on the basis of cell wall. Now, second thing is here. Here the some drawbacks. Whatever the drawbacks is here given. Now, what I'm saying here, after that the three kingdom classification, which one given by the scientist Ernest Haeckel, Which one they added? Ernest Haeckel. This one is the third kingdom of classification, kingdom protista. And now this one is the what? The fourth kingdom classification, kingdom Mondra. Correct? Correct, my dear. So kingdom Mondra, we add which one? Bacteria. We give a proper place of bacteria because the proper place was not given in third kingdom as well as the two kingdoms. So that's why, my dear, here we give a proper classification, that is what kingdom Mondra. And in kingdom Mondra there is what only sole organisms is here, that is bacteria. And further, dear, bacteria classified into two parts, that is archaebacteria and eubacteria, my dear. Correct? So this archaebacteria and eubacteria further give in the classification, that is sixth kingdom classification. But before we have to be there classify the sixth kingdom classification, here we must have to be give a clear concept over which one? Five kingdom classification, my dear. You know the five kingdom classification. Here I'm going to write here also, here only, that is five kingdom classification. See here what I'm writing here. Here I'm writing, not in the next slide. Here I'm writing what? Five kingdom classification. Wait for a moment. Wait for a moment. Here in words I'm going to write what? Five kingdom classification. See what I'm writing. Five kingdom classification. Correct? So this five kingdom classification was given by the scientist. You know which one? Which one scientist gave the five kingdom classification, my dear? You know, R.H. Whittaker. Which one? The scientist, tell me. Yes, correct. R.H. Whittaker. See here. R.H. Whittaker. Here the year is important, my dear. Year is important. 1969. See, in 1969, R.H. Whittaker gave what? Five kingdom classification, my dear. So see, in five kingdom classification, what are they added? What he added? He added, dear, what? Fungi. He added what? He added what? Fungi. See what I'm writing here. Fungi I'm writing here. Fungi. See, this one is the thing. So remaining all the four. What are four? Kingdom Mondra, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. See, check all these five kingdoms is here, right? So this five kingdom classification was given by the scientist. The name of the scientist is whom? That is R.H. Whittaker. In the year which one? 1969. So in 1969, my dear, this R.H. Whittaker give five kingdom classification, and you know what? In this five kingdom classification, we arrange in this way: kingdom Mondra first, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia. Right? Is that clear? So here, this one is thing is clear, my dear. Now the time to see what the things is given in NCERT. Check here NCERT, my dear. Okay, check each and everything whatever the given in chapter 2 biological classification, my dear. Check here first what I'm going to see. See, I'm saying here Linnaeus time. See what I'm saying? The two kingdom classification, two system of classification. Just I tell in previous slide, that is with Plantae and Animalia. See whatever the things I was told in previous slide. Now see, check here, that is given in your NCERT, my dear. So that's why I'm making a clip here, so that it is easy to understand that all other things that whatever I told in previous slides. Clear? So kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia. See here, was developed that include all plants and animals respectively. So here Carlos Linnaeus, whenever give the two kingdom classification, so in this very classification included what? What included? Included all the plants and all the animals, my dear. So this system did not distinguish between the eukaryotes and eukaryotes. See what I'm saying? See, this one is the main criteria to fill this kingdom classification, my dear, because he doesn't Doesn't distinguish between which one, eukaryotic and prokaryotic. He put together both prokaryotic and eukaryotic, unicellular and multicellular. See, unicellular and multicellular organisms. Photosynthetic, that is green, and non-photosynthetic fungi. Photosynthetic green algae and non-photosynthetic fungi, mushroom. I was given example there. Classification of organisms into plants and animals was easily done and was easy to understand, but a large number of organisms, see, but a large number of organisms did not fall into either categories. But here I have to classify the bacteria. So where we have put bacteria? Is bacteria plant or is bacteria animals? This was the question, my dear. Yes or no? So the scientist Carlos Linnaeus not give a clear-cut concept here that how we classify the organisms which have the what complexity. Yes or no? That is the large number of organisms do not fall into either categories in the plant or animals. So hence the two kingdom classification used for a long time was found inadequate. What I'm saying here, inadequate, प्रचुर मात्रा में नहीं था ये दो किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन माय डियर। इसलिए क्या किया गया कि दो किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन को समाप्त किया गया। कहा गया कि भाई देखो, ऐसा है कि दो किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन के अंदर बहुत सारे हम लोग ऑर्गेनिजम्स को नहीं रख सकते हैं। तो इसके लिए क्या किया गया, फिर लाया गया थ्री किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन लाया गया, फोर किंगडम लाया गया, इवन फाइव किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन भी क्लासिफाई किया गया, इवन सिक्स किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन को भी क्लासिफाई किया गया माय डियर। यस और नो? सी, तो मैंने क्या कहा कि besides gross morphology, a need was also felt for including other characteristics. What the other characteristics, my dear? See, number one, that is cell structure, nature of wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, methods of reproductions, evolutionary relationship, etc. See what I'm saying? I'm saying here that here the inadequate, whatever the classification given by the Carlos Linnaeus, my dear, that is not sufficient. That is not sufficient, my dear. So that's why I'm saying here, that's why I'm saying here, besides this two kingdom classification, we never put that all very organisms in a group in a different manner, my dear. Whenever the organisms having a morphology, whenever the nature of wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, method of reproduction, evolutionary relationship, this one is this one is the thing that is not to be easy to put there. Getting what I'm saying? आसान नहीं था इन सारी चीजों को इसके आधार पे ओनली दो किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन के अंदर रख पाना आसान नहीं था। तो क्या हुआ आगे चलकर देखते हैं हम लोग। क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम फॉर द लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैव हेंस अंडरगोन सेवरल चेंजेस ओवर द टाइम। जैसे जैसे समय बीतता चला गया वैसे वैसे उसके अंदर क्लासिफिकेशन में भी चेंजेस लाया गया। मैं ये नहीं बोलता हूं बेटा कि उस वक्त जो दिया गया था क्लासिफिकेशन वो गलत था। जिस वक्त जो डिमांड थी उस वक्त क्लासिफिकेशन उस समय सही था, लेकिन जैसे जैसे समय बीतता चला गया वैसे वैसे नीड बढ़ती चली गई, वैसे वैसे कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स जो है अलग होता गया, वैसे वैसे इवोल्यूशनरी रिलेशनशिप्स आते चले गए, तो हम लोग को क्लासिफिकेशन का दायरा भी बढ़ाना पड़ा ना। Yes. So though what I'm saying here, though plants and animal kingdom have been a constant under all different systems, and the understanding of what groups organisms be included under these kingdoms have been changing. Yes. So the number and the nature of other kingdoms have also been understood differently by different scientists over the time. Yes or no? तो मैंने आपको पिछले स्लाइड्स में तो यही बताने की कोशिश किया। चेक करते हैं पिछले स्लाइड में क्या किए। थ्री किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन अर्नेस्ट हैकेल ने दिया, जिसमें ऐड किया किंगडम प्रोटिस्टा। ये भी सफिशिएंट नहीं था, फिर आया क्या फोर किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन माय डियर। इसने दिया, कोपलैंड ने दिया। इसमें क्या ऐड किया गया, किंगडम मॉन्ड्रा। फिर क्या ऐड किया गया, फाइव किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन माय डियर। किसने दिया, आरिश वेटेकर ने दिया। कब दिया, 1969 में। इसमें हम लोग क्या ऐड किए, किंगडम फंगाई। सो सी व्हाट आई एम सेइंग हियर, So different scientists give the different classification, and this very classification, which is very essential to go through that very organisms in details, my dear. So without classification, it is not easy to handle that very organisms. Is it correct? See, after that, the sixth kingdom classification is also here, dear. So before we have to be know first thing, that is here what the five kingdom criteria. See here, I'm going to write here the five kingdom criteria. Okay, see what I'm going to write here. See what the five, what I'm writing here, five kingdom criteria. See what the five kingdom criteria that is given by the scientist R.H. Whittaker in 1969. See, number one, the criteria. See what the criteria is here. Number one, that is what cell structure. That is what I'm saying. Cell structure, or you say the cellular structure, both are correct. Cell structure. In cell structure, what we study? We study about the prokaryotic, and second one is what? Prokaryotic, and second one is what? Eukaryotic, my dear. Correct? Prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Listen. Now, second one. What the second one is, my dear? That is what? Thallus organization. What I'm saying? Thallus organization. See, in thallus organization, what I'm saying here, my dear, unicellular and what? Unicellular and multicellular, my dear. Correct? Now, third one. Wait a moment. Third one. That is what? Mode of nutrition. So in mode of nutrition, what? That is autotrophic and heterotrophic, my dear. One is what? Autotrophic, and what? This one is what? Heterotrophic, my dear. See, that's one way. And now, fourth one is what? Phylogenetic relationship. Fourth one is what? What I'm writing here? I'm writing here what? Phylogenetic relationship. See here, that's what I am telling to you. See, let's see first. So, whatever the scientist, name of the scientist, which one you know? The scientist, the name of the scientist is R.H. Whittaker. See, R.H. Whittaker. In this very slide, R.H. Whittaker in 1969 gave the five kingdom classification. Am I right? He added what? Kingdom fungi. Correct. Now, here in this very slide, what I'm going to tell you, what criteria the R.H. Whittaker even that very kingdom of classification. The number one criteria is what? Cellular structure. So if we study in details in this very biological classification, we have to be idea here that cellular structure on what basis, that is prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Then after we have to study here thallus organization. Thallus organization means what? Either the organisms have a unicellular or multicellular, my dear. Then the third is one is what criteria? Mode of nutrition. That is either the organisms is autotrophic or heterotrophic. And fourth one is what, my dear? That is phylogenetic relationship. Now, see, before we have to be proceed here, must be to know here that what, my dear, that this one autotrophic and heterotrophic, this one is the mode of nutrition. You know, heterotrophic further classify, my dear. You know which one further we classify this heterotrophic? See, heterotrophic further we classify into three parts, my dear. This one is very important to know. Hope so you all know. Don't know? Let's see. First, we classify the heterotrophic into three parts, my dear. Number one is what? Saprophytic. Number one is what? Saprophytic. Number one. Second one is what? Parasitic. Second one is what? Parasitic. And third one is what, my dear? That is holozoic. That is what I'm writing here. Holozoic. See what I'm saying. Heterotrophic and autotrophic, you all know. Yes, autotrophic means what? The organisms which can synthesize their own food in the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide, water and minerals, etc. While in heterotrophic, we all are Heterotrophs, that is which directly or indirectly depend on autotrophs. It means what? Those organisms which cannot make their own food, they depend on autotroph, right? So now here I'm saying heterotrophic further be classified into three parts. You know what are they? Number one, that is saprophytic. Second one is parasitic, and third one is what? Holozoic. Suppose if I'm saying here that the saprophytic, so what the meaning is saprophytic? See, I'm going to tell you here. Sapro means what? Rotten. Sapro. Break this word. Sapro. Sapro means what? Rotten. So what the meaning of rotten? Sada hua. Phytic means what? To feed. Feed. It means what? The organisms which feed dead and decompose organic matter, my dear. So that's why I'm saying here what? Saprophytic. Now what about the parasitic, my dear? Parasitic means what? The organisms which derive nutrients from another living organisms. I was told so many times in Kingdom Animalia also, my dear, the parasitic words, parasitic terms. I was taught that very chapter. You go through that very lecture. You and in details, I am going there all the things. Okay. So parasitic means what? The organisms will derive nutrition from another living organisms. And here, this parasitic further be classified into two parts, my dear. One is what? Ectoparasite. One is what I'm writing here? Ectoparasite. Ectoparasite. And second one is what, my dear? Endoparasite. Endoparasite. So the term here clear. The term gives clear here. What, my dear? Ectoparasites. So if I'm saying here about the ectoparasite, it means what? Wait for a moment, my dear. Wait for a moment. So my voice is not coming here.